The summer of 1964 was in full swing when United Airlines Flight 823 prepared for its scheduled journey on July 9th. The aircraft, a Vickers Viscount 745D, was a British-designed turboprop known for its efficiency and reliability. It was widely used by airlines across the world, including the United States, where it was operated by United Airlines on domestic routes. The Viscount had a reputation for being a sturdy and well-built aircraft, capable of handling various weather conditions and offering a comfortable ride for passengers. That afternoon, the plane was set to fly from Philadelphia to Huntsville, Alabama, with a stop in Knoxville, Tennessee. The route was routine, and flights of this nature were expected to proceed without incident. The aircraft was carrying 39 people on board, including 35 passengers and 4 crew members. Among them were business travelers, families, and individuals heading to their respective destinations. Some were returning home, while others were traveling for work or leisure. The flight crew consisted of experienced professionals, including the captain, first officer, and 2 flight attendants responsible for ensuring the safety and comfort of the passengers. The aircraft departed Philadelphia without issue, cruising smoothly through the sky as it made its way southward. The weather conditions along the route were mostly clear, with only a few scattered clouds. Nothing indicated that this flight would end in tragedy. The stop in Washington, D.C., where some passengers disembarked and others boarded, was uneventful, and the plane continued its journey toward Knoxville. As the Viscount flew over Tennessee, something went terribly wrong. Around 20 minutes before the plane was scheduled to land, passengers and crew began noticing smoke inside the cabin. At first, it was faint, but within moments it became thicker, filling the cabin with the acrid smell of something burning. Panic set in as people realized that a fire had broken out somewhere on the aircraft. The crew acted quickly, attempting to locate the source of the fire while also reassuring the passengers. The pilots in the cockpit, now aware of the emergency, immediately requested an emergency landing at McGee-Tyson Airport in Knoxville. As the fire spread, smoke filled the cockpit, making it increasingly difficult for the pilots to see their instruments. Communication between the flight deck and air traffic control became strained as the situation grew more dire. The intensity of the fire suggested that it was not just a minor electrical issue, but something far more severe. The pilots struggled to maintain control of the aircraft as flames continued to consume parts of the plane. The aircraft's descent became erratic as the pilots fought against the worsening conditions. Witnesses on the ground reported seeing the plane flying unusually low, with smoke trailing behind it. The situation inside the aircraft had reached a critical point. The heat and smoke were overwhelming, making it nearly impossible for anyone to remain conscious for long. Then, in a desperate attempt to escape the inferno, one passenger forced open an emergency exit. The sheer force of the wind at such a high altitude made it a deadly choice, but for someone trapped in the unbearable heat and smoke, it seemed like the only option. That individual was seen plummeting from the aircraft, becoming the only person to be ejected before the crash. Moments later, Flight 823 crashed into a wooded area near Parrottsville, Tennessee. The impact was catastrophic. The aircraft was completely engulfed in flames upon hitting the ground, leaving no chance for survival. Firefighters and emergency responders rushed to the crash site, but by the time they arrived, the wreckage was almost unrecognizable. The fire had consumed most of the aircraft, leaving little more than charred metal and debris scattered across the area. Investigators from the Civil Aeronautics Board, CAB, arrived soon after to determine what had caused such a devastating fire. Mid-flight, the search for answers was challenging due to the extensive fire damage which had destroyed much of the evidence. However, through careful examination of the wreckage and survivor accounts, they were able to piece together a probable cause. It was determined that the fire had likely started in the rear of the aircraft, possibly due to an electrical malfunction or a combustible material catching fire. The exact ignition source remained unknown, but once the fire began, it spread rapidly through the cabin. The materials used in the interior of the aircraft were highly flammable, allowing the fire to grow uncontrollably within minutes. One of the most alarming aspects of the crash was the lack of effective fire suppression systems on board. In the 1960s, fire safety measures on aircraft were far less advanced than they are today. The incident highlighted the need for improved fire detection and suppression,